Hello everyone and welcome back to another lesson in language and literature. For this week, you're going to learn about haiku and tanka. In our past lesson, we traveled from ancient China to modern China. Now it's time for us to travel to Japan, the land of the rising sun. Let's talk about Japan and its literature. Let's go. Historically, Japanese literature developed from the Chinese, but it has a distinctive individuality. The period between the 19th and the 12th centuries was the classic age of Japanese literature. Japan produced one playwright, Chikamatsu, who has been called the Shakespeare of his country. He wrote some 50 dramas in which he freely intermingled comedy and tragedy. His plays were different from the classics. The 18th century marked the revival of the novel. Two great writers distinguished themselves, Kyokutei Bakken and Jipensa Ikku, who is known in literary circles as the Japanese Mark Twain. Bakken's masterpiece is New Moon, which is still popular in Japan. Now, we will be talking about haiku. Haiku is a short poetry with a pattern of 5-7-5. Strictly in the Japanese tradition, haiku should be short, uniform, and unstressed, which can be very difficult to adopt in English. Although many poets have attempted to create and translate haiku to English, often they loosen the rule for syllabic patterns of the original haiku. Let's watch this video and try to see the difference between a haiku, which is originally written and read in Japanese, and let us see what happens to the haiku when it's translated and read in English.
古池や河津飛び込む水の音
An ancient pond. A frog jumps in. The sound of water.
As you may notice, in the haiku, which is read in the Japanese language, it is more pleasing to hear. But then when it was translated and was read in English, it sounded a little bit off. So most of the time, haiku is really appreciated in the Japanese language. But then more and more Filipinos and as well as English writers try to write their own haiku following the 5-7-5 pattern. Let us take a look at this example of haiku. We are all locked in. Outside Corona roams free. Free as the wind blows. Now let us check if it follows the syllabic pattern in each lines. We are all locked in. That's 5 syllables. The next one, outside, Corona roams free. That is 7. Free as the wind blows. And that's 5 syllables. So this is exactly a haiku because it follows the 5-7-5 pattern. Now I have here an example of haiku which is originally written in Japanese. Now let's read the Japanese version. Ame wo furu, kirei hana saku, haru hajima. Now if we try to count each lines, it does follow the 5-7-5. But then when it was translated into English, the pattern 575 is no longer followed. Ame wo furu means it rains. Kirei hanasaku means beautiful flowers bloom. And haru hajima, the beginning of spring. Now don't get confused if the haiku that you can find in our book does not follow the syllabic pattern 575 because it was already translated. The common subjects of haiku are found in nature, like seasons of the year, scenery, or any object and phenomenon in nature. Now, how about tanka? Tanka is another Japanese poetic form which is less popular among English poets. It is a verse with a syllabic pattern 5757 and 7. Tanka is a verse of feelings, courtship, and love. It's like similar to a sonnet. Now I would like you to study the haikus found on page 190 written by Basho, or he is known as Matsuo Basho. He is Japan's greatest haiku poet. And also, try to take a look at the tanka found on page 193 of your book written by Saikyo. Saikyo is the great master of tanka. Now for your activity, look around your backyard or just around your house and then select a subject that you will make as an inspiration for your haiku. Make a drawing or illustration of your subject, then write your haiku in a 1/8 illustration board. Now I have here some examples of how they illustrated the subject of their haiku, and here they are. So in this first example, the subject of the haiku is the leaf. So it's the autumn leaf. And then the next one is it's the kite between the trees. The other one, I'm not really sure. It's a bit small. And the last one, there's the dog as the subject. So you can be creative on how are you going to illustrate the subject of your haiku, and then after that write the lines. Make sure to have the space wherein you're going to place your haiku. Now that's it, everyone.